confident speaking podcast where you can learn to speak English with natural rhythm, real confidence, and fluency.
Hey everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Confident Speaking Podcast. I'm David, and as always, I'm delighted to be joined by my wonderful co-host, Jessica.
Hey there, David. It is fantastic to be back with you and all our listeners today. How have you been?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. You know, something was on my mind this morning. How frequently do we use particular expressions in our speech without even stopping to consider just how essential they are?
Oh, that's a fascinating thought. What exactly are you getting at?
Well, just consider this for a moment. Every single day, we use all these phrases, phrasal verbs, and little idioms. And frankly, these are the very things that a lot of English learners find challenging. They can memorize complex grammar rules flawlessly, but when it comes to a relaxed, casual conversation, they find themselves getting stuck.
That is such an insightful point. I couldn't agree more. Just the other day, someone asked me what the phrase hang out actually meant in a daily context, and it made me realize just how many of these expressions are absolutely fundamental, yet so often overlooked in traditional learning.
Precisely. And that is the exact reason we are dedicating today's episode to this topic. We have curated a collection of 30 incredibly useful words, expressions, and phrasal verbs that will genuinely elevate your daily English.
And I truly believe that once you get comfortable with these, your conversations are going to feel so much more fluid and confident.
You've hit the nail on the head. We are going to explore a wide range, from common everyday expressions to workplace vocabulary, emotional responses, conversational phrases, and of course, a solid set of phrasal verbs that native speakers use all the time.
I have to say, I am genuinely excited about this episode. Some of these might be new to you, while others will likely have you thinking, oh, I hear that one constantly.
Fantastic. So regardless of whether you are at a B1 or B2 level, this episode is going to provide immense value for you. Are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's begin.
All right, let's jump right into our first category, everyday expressions. These are the kinds of phrases you will hear practically everywhere, in chats with friends, while you're shopping at the store, essentially any place where English speakers come together.
Yes, and I think what makes them so powerful is their casual and authentic nature. You're not likely to find these in a formal textbook, but you absolutely cannot get by without them in the real world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So our very first expression is, I screwed up.
Oh, that's an excellent one to start with. So at its core, this phrase means that you've made a mistake or you did something wrong. It's important to note that it's decidedly informal. You probably wouldn't say this to your CEO in a formal board meeting. Well, perhaps if you had a very close relationship with them. But generally, it's reserved for friend-to-friend conversations.
Exactly. And the real beauty of this phrase lies in its universality. Everyone makes mistakes at some point. Let me provide an example to make this perfectly clear. Let's imagine you promised to meet a friend at 3 p.m., but you completely forgot and ended up arriving at 4 p.m. When you get there, you would likely say something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I really screwed up. I completely lost track of time."
That's a great example. You can truly sense the personal frustration in that situation. And notice that it is self-directed. You're admitting your own fault, right? You're not blaming anyone else. You're taking ownership of it.
Moving along to our second expression, it's up to you.
This one is brilliant because you hear it constantly. Essentially, it means that the decision is yours to make. Nobody else is going to make the choice for you. You have the freedom, or the responsibility, to decide.
And it has a fairly neutral tone, doesn't it? It's not overly formal, but it's not super casual either. You can use it with almost anyone.
Absolutely. Here's a practical scenario for you. You and your colleagues are deciding where to go for lunch. Someone says, "I'm happy to go wherever." You could then reply, "Okay, well, it's up to you guys to pick the place then." You are effectively handing the decision-making power over to them.
I like that. Okay, next on our list is I'm not buying it.
Oh, this one is fun. So this expression doesn't literally mean you're refusing to make a purchase. It signifies that you do not believe what another person is saying. You're expressing skepticism.
Exactly. And it's also quite informal. You would typically say this to friends or people you feel comfortable around. Let me create an example. Your friend claims they didn't eat the last slice of pizza, but you witnessed them doing it just 5 minutes earlier. You would probably laugh and respond, "Come on, I'm not buying it. I literally just saw you."
Yes, that's such a relatable situation. Your tone of voice is also very important here. You can say it in a playful manner or with more seriousness, depending on the context.
That's a great point. Now, let's take a look at this next one. You've got to be kidding me.
This is an expression of disbelief, but it carries a stronger weight than the last one. It's used to express surprise, shock, or even frustration. It's as if you think what someone just said is completely ridiculous or impossible.
So it's more of a reaction than simple doubt.
Precisely. It's more of a gut reaction. For instance, if someone told you they were planning to move to the moon next month, your natural response would probably be, "You're gotta be kidding me." You're showing that you find their statement to be entirely far-fetched or unbelievable.
Let me add another angle to make this crystal clear. Picture this. You're at your job, and a colleague informs you that the 9 a.m. meeting for tomorrow has been canceled, but you just spent the last 2 hours preparing materials for it. You might react by exclaiming, "You've got to be kidding me. Why didn't anyone let me know sooner?"
Perfect. That feeling of frustration and surprise is exactly what this phrase captures. Moving right along to number 5. It rings a bell.
Ooh, I love this one. It's almost poetic when you stop to think about it. At its core, it means that something sounds familiar or that you have a vague memory of something, correct? You're not stating that you remember it perfectly, just that it feels like something you've heard or seen before. There's a hint of familiarity to it.
So if I were to ask, have you ever visited that Italian restaurant on 5th Street? And you replied, "It rings a bell, but I can't quite place it." What would that imply?
That would mean you've likely either been there or heard about it previously, but your memory of it isn't sharp. It's triggering a faint memory in your mind, but you can't quite grasp the full detail.
Brilliant. Here's a more concrete example. Your friend brings up a movie titled The Secret Garden, and although you haven't seen it, you say, "Yeah, that title rings a bell. I think my sister might have mentioned it once." I love that you're not claiming to have full knowledge, just acknowledging that the familiarity is there somewhere. Next up is don't take it personally.
This is such a critical phrase for effective communication. Essentially, the speaker is asking you not to feel wounded or offended by something they have said or done. They are requesting that you separate their comment from your personal identity. It's frequently used after you've said something a little critical or blunt, and you want to soften the blow. You're basically saying, this is not a reflection on you as a person, it's about the specific situation.
That really helps to put the feedback in perspective. They're creating a clear separation between the constructive criticism and your value as an individual.
And finally, well, not truly finally since we have many more to cover, but our last one in this group is, I'll take your word for it.
This is a good one. It means that you are choosing to trust what someone is telling you, even though you may not have any direct evidence or personal experience to confirm it.
Exactly. It demonstrates trust and acceptance. You are essentially communicating, I believe you, and I'm going to trust your judgment on this matter.
And it can be used genuinely or sometimes with a subtle hint of sarcasm, depending on your tone of voice.
Here's an example to clarify. Your friend insists that a new local coffee shop has the absolute best cappuccino in the entire city. Since you haven't been there yourself, you might say, well, I'll take your word for it. Let's go check it out sometime. That's a straightforward and genuine use. However, you could also say it sarcastically if your friend is known to have, let's say, questionable taste. Either way, the phrase itself remains the same.
Perfect. So there you have it. 7 everyday expressions that are absolutely vital for natural-sounding English conversation.
These truly are the foundation of casual conversation. Honestly, once you can use these expressions with ease, you'll sound so much more like a fluent English speaker.
All right, let's move into our second category now, phrasal verbs. These little word combinations can be challenging, but they are absolutely everywhere in the English language.
Honestly, they are often what distinguishes textbook English from authentic everyday English. Native speakers use them constantly, often without a second thought.
So true. Let's begin with our first phrasal verb, to run into someone.
Ooh, a good choice. So this does not mean to physically collide with the person in a forceful way. It means to meet someone unexpectedly or by pure chance. It's a casual encounter that you had not planned.
Right, so you just happen to bump into them by accident, speaking figuratively, of course. Here is a scenario to make it clear. You are walking through the supermarket on a Tuesday afternoon, and all of a sudden you spot your old friend from high school at the checkout line. You certainly were not expecting to see them there. Later, you might say, "You'll never guess who I ran into at the grocery store today."
Great. That is exactly how you would use it. And it's very informal, so it's best used with friends and family. You wouldn't likely use this in a formal business presentation, but you'll hear it in daily conversation all the time.
Now, let's look at our second phrasal verb in this section, to come across as.
This one is really interesting because it deals with perception and the way people see you. Basically, it refers to the impression you give to other people, how you seem or appear to them. So it's not necessarily about who you truly are, but rather how you are being perceived by others.
Bingo! It's all about the image you project, whether you're doing it intentionally or not. Let me set up an example. Imagine you are at a job interview and you feel really nervous, which causes you to speak very quietly and avoid making much eye contact. The interviewer might later think that you come across as shy or lacking in confidence, even if you are normally an incredibly confident person.
Oh, that's a solid example. So the phrase really captures that potential gap between our inner reality and others' perception. Let me offer another angle on this. A friend of yours is constantly joking around and making sarcastic comments. Someone who doesn't know them well might think they come across as rude or even mean, but their close friends understand they're just being funny.
Exactly. And here's the thing. You can also use it in a positive way. For instance, she comes across as very professional and trustworthy. It doesn't always have to be negative.
Great point. So come across as is really about that initial impression or the overall vibe someone gets from you.
These two phrasal verbs are truly foundational.
They absolutely are.
And the wonderful thing is, once you begin to understand the pattern, you can start identifying other phrasal verbs and making educated guesses about their meanings.
I love that mindset. We still have a lot more ground to cover, so now we are jumping into our third category, conversational expressions and proverbs. These are the kinds of phrases that have truly stood the test of time simply because they are so genuinely useful.
Absolutely. Many of these contain a little piece of wisdom, or they are just clever tools for navigating a conversation smoothly. Using them can make you sound incredibly natural.
Let's begin with our first one. Better safe than sorry.
This is a true classic. It's essentially saying that it is far wiser to take precautions in the present moment rather than risking potential problems down the road. It's all about being cautious and actively preventing future issues.
So it operates more as a principle or a piece of advice you might offer someone.
Exactly. It serves as a guideline for decision making. For example, if you are feeling unsure about a situation, it's generally better to be careful. Now, here's an example to paint a clear picture. You're planning a long road trip for next week, and you've noticed your car has been making some strange noises lately. Your friend suggests, maybe we should get it checked by a mechanic before we leave. You might respond, yeah, you're right. Better safe than sorry. Let's take it to the shop.
That makes perfect sense. You are choosing to be preventative instead of risking a breakdown in the middle of nowhere. That's a perfect application. Moving on to our second expression, don't even go there.
Oh, this one is fantastic because it's so versatile. Basically, it is a way of telling someone not to bring up a specific topic. This could be because the subject is sensitive, controversial, or simply something the speaker does not wish to discuss.
So it's a way of setting a boundary within the conversation.
Precisely. And it carries a very informal friend-to-friend tone. Let me give you a clear example. You're spending time with your roommate, and you jokingly mention the time they spilled red wine all over the new carpet. They might look at you sternly and say, "Don't even go there. We are not talking about that." They are immediately shutting down that line of conversation.
I can really feel the defensiveness in that scenario. Okay, next up we have for what it's worth.
This one is a bit different. It's often used right before someone offers their opinion or advice, but they do so in a humble way, acknowledging that their input might not be critically important or especially relevant.
So they're essentially downplaying what they are about to say.
In a way, yes, or they are softening their statement as if to say, I may not be the expert in this, but here is my thought anyway. Let me set up an example. You're with a friend who is feeling very stressed about a situation at work. You could say, for what it's worth, I think you handled that email exchange really well. It seems like your boss was just having a bad day. You're offering your support, but you're also being modest about your own perspective.
That's actually quite nice. It's a polite method for inserting your opinion without coming across as too forceful. Shifting gears now to you know the drill.
This is such a common phrase. It basically means that the other person is already aware of the routine or the standard procedure. You don't need to explain it again because they are already familiar with it. So you are referring to something that is already mutually understood between the two of you.
Yes, there's a shared understanding there. Here's a very straightforward example. You are about to head out with your friends on a Friday night to the same bar you visit every single week. You might say, all right, everyone, you know the drill. Meet at my place at 8, and then we'll head out. Everyone involved knows exactly what to expect because it's a regular activity.
Got it. No confusion, no need for any detailed instructions. Now, this next one is quite cool. That ship has sailed.
I love the imagery in this one. Fundamentally, it means that it is too late to do something. The opportunity has passed, and you can no longer go back or change the outcome.
So it's final. There is no turning back.
That's the idea, yes. Something has already occurred, the moment has passed, and you have to accept that reality. Let me paint a scenario for you. You're talking with a colleague about applying for a promotion, but the application window closed yesterday. You could say, I really wanted to go for it, but that ship has sailed.
the deadline passed. You're acknowledging that the opportunity is now gone.
That definitely feels conclusive. You can't get on a ship that has already departed from the harbor. Okay, the last one in this batch is make yourself at home.
This is a very welcoming phrase. It signifies that you want someone to feel comfortable and completely relaxed in your space, as if they should treat your home as if it were their own.
So it's an invitation to be at ease and not stand on formality.
Exactly. You're signaling to them not to feel like a formal guest. Just relax and do whatever they need to. Here's a practical example. Your cousin is visiting from out of town and has just arrived at your apartment. You open the door and say, "Come on in, make yourself at home. The kitchen's just down the hall if you need anything, and please feel free to grab whatever you want from the fridge." You're making them feel instantly welcome and at ease.
That's incredibly hospitable. You are effectively removing that layer of awkwardness that can sometimes exist when you have guests over. These 6 expressions are pure gold for everyday conversation.
They really are, and they also demonstrate a deeper cultural understanding. Using these expressions naturally makes you sound like someone who genuinely understands how English speakers communicate with one another.
Couldn't have stated it better. All right, we are making excellent progress through these 30 expressions, and now for category number 4, emotional and reaction expressions. These are the phrases you use when you want to truly show how you feel about something, and they are incredibly expressive.
Yes, these phrases allow you to move beyond simple statements like, "I like it" or "I don't like it." They add so much more personality and emotion to what you are trying to convey.
Precisely. Let's dive right in with our first one. I can't stand it.
This one is quite strong. It means you have an intense dislike for something. This isn't just a mild annoyance, it's a genuine feeling of frustration or even disgust.
So it's a level up in intensity from just not liking something.
Definitely. It's a way of saying that something bothers you on a deep level. Here's a clear scenario. Imagine you're at your friend's house and they're watching a reality TV show that is filled with constant drama and contrived moments. After watching for just 5 minutes, you might say, "Honestly, I can't stand this show. Can we please put something else on?" You're expressing real frustration.
That's a great illustration of the strength behind that phrase, moving right along to "I'm not into that."
This one is actually a bit gentler. It simply means you are not interested in a particular thing or that it's not your personal preference. It's a polite way to decline an offer or express disinterest without being harsh.
So it's more casual than "I can't stand it."
Oh, absolutely. It's far more casual and friendly. Think of it this way. If someone suggests you all go skydiving and that's not something you are interested in, you could say, "Thanks for the invitation, but I'm not really into that. Heights make me nervous." You are being honest without sounding rude.
That's a nice distinction. Okay, our next expression is "I couldn't care less."
This one is quite amusing because you hear it all the time, and what it actually means is that you have absolutely zero interest in or concern about something. It expresses complete and total indifference.
And it's pretty emphatic, isn't it?
Very. It's like saying your level of caring is at absolute zero. Let me set up a scenario. You and your colleagues are discussing what brand of coffee the office has just ordered. You aren't fussy about coffee brands at all, so you might say, "I couldn't care less if it's some expensive brand or just instant coffee. As long as it's hot, I'm happy." You are being very blunt about your indifference.
That's very relatable. Moving forward to "I can't get enough of it."
This one has the complete opposite energy. This means you absolutely adore something and you want more and more of it. You are obsessed with it or extremely passionate about it.
So it's a way of expressing great enthusiasm, almost like a positive addiction to something.
Exactly. It demonstrates genuine enjoyment and a strong desire for more. Here's an example to illustrate. Your friend has just discovered an amazing new Korean restaurant in your neighborhood, and after you try their food, you exclaim, "Seriously, I can't get enough of their spicy noodles. We have to go back next weekend."
You are showing real excitement and a craving for more.
I can practically feel the enthusiasm in that one. All right, the next one is don't freak out.
This is more of a calming phrase. Someone would say this to tell you not to panic or lose your composure over a situation. It's a request for you to stay calm and collected.
So you would likely say this to someone who is starting to get worried or anxious.
Precisely. You are acknowledging their potential stress, but you're encouraging them to take a breath and stay grounded. Let me give you a situation. You are taking a university exam, and you notice your classmate next to you is looking extremely panicked about a question they can't seem to answer. You might lean over slightly and whisper, "Hey, don't freak out. There's still plenty of time. You've got this." You are providing them with reassurance.
That's actually very supportive. And our final one in this set, it blew me away.
This phrase means that something impressed you tremendously or shocked you in a very positive way. It far exceeded all of your expectations.
So it's about being genuinely impressed or astonished.
Yes, it's for a moment when something is so good or so unexpected that it just leaves you in awe. Here's a concrete example. Your friend invites you to see their band's very first live performance. You weren't entirely sure what to expect, but they were absolutely phenomenal on stage. After the show, you would go up to them and say, "That performance absolutely blew me away. You guys were incredible." You're expressing just how much they impressed you.
That is such a positive reaction. These 6 expressions really cover the full emotional spectrum, don't they?
They really do. From frustration and indifference to excitement and calm reassurance, you now have the tools for almost any emotional situation you might encounter.
And they sound so much more authentic than just saying, "I feel happy" or "I feel sad." These phrases have real character.
Totally. People use these constantly in real-life conversations. Mastering them will definitely help you level up your English game.
All right, we are on to our final category now, professional and work expressions. These are absolutely critical if you work in an English-speaking environment or if you deal with international business partners.
For real. These phrases are the lifeblood of communication in the workplace. You will hear them in meetings, see them in emails, and use them in casual chats with colleagues all the time.
That's a perfect segue. Let's kick things off with let's touch base.
This one means that you want to connect with someone, check in with them, or have a brief conversation to update each other about something. It's all about establishing communication and making sure everyone is aligned.
So it's more formal than just saying, let's hang out.
Exactly. It's professional, yet still friendly. You would use it with colleagues or clients. Here's an example. You have been working on a project with your team, and it's been a few days since everyone discussed the progress. You might send out an email that says, "Hey everyone, let's touch base on Friday afternoon to go over where we're at with the campaign." You are essentially scheduling a check-in meeting.
That makes sense. It's not aggressive, it's very collaborative. Moving to our next one, let's take it offline.
This is a slightly sneaky one. It does not mean disconnecting from the internet. It means you want to postpone a particular conversation, to discuss it privately or at a later time, rather than in front of the entire group.
So you might say this during a group meeting, for instance.
Absolutely. You could be in a team meeting when someone brings up a detailed budget concern. You might suggest, "Let's take that offline and we can discuss it one-on-one later." You are essentially saying that this is not the right time or forum for this specific discussion. To give you a clearer picture, imagine you're on a video call with 10 people and someone asks a very specific question that would take a long time to answer. You could respond, "That's a great question. Let's take it offline and I'll send you the details by email." You're being tactful about managing everyone's time.
That's a smart move. It keeps the meeting flowing. Next up, to be swamped.
This is a relatable one. It means you are completely overwhelmed with work or other responsibilities. You are buried under a mountain of tasks and have very little free time.
Is it fairly informal, or can you use it in professional settings as well?
You can honestly use it in both. It is informal enough to be used casually with colleagues, but it's also professional enough for a general workplace context. Here's a scenario for you. Your colleague asks if you are able to take on a new project this week. You could respond by saying, "I would love to help, but I'm completely swamped right now with the quarterly review. Can we possibly revisit this next week?" You are explaining your current capacity in a realistic way.
That's just honest communication. Shifting gears now to it's a no-brainer.
This expression means that a decision is obvious or incredibly easy to make. There is really no need to overthink it because the correct answer is clear.
So you're saying the choice is straightforward.
Precisely. It's a very confident statement to make. Let me set up an example. You are in a business meeting discussing whether to hire a talented candidate who had an incredible interview and has the perfect experience for the role. Someone might say, "Her qualifications are exceptional and she absolutely nailed the interview. It's a no-brainer. We should offer her the position." You are communicating that the decision is obvious because all the evidence is overwhelmingly positive.
I love that clarity. Coming up next is to be in the loop.
This means you are well-informed and aware of what is happening. You have all the necessary information to stay current on a particular project or situation.
And the opposite of that would be being left out of the loop.
Exactly. Being in the loop means you are a part of the communication chain. Here is a workplace example. You are working remotely, and your manager wants to ensure you stay connected to the team's ongoing progress. They might say to you, "I'll be sure to keep you in the loop about all the updates from the office meetings so that you don't miss anything important." They are promising to keep you informed.
That's good management right there. Now, let's look at to get the ball rolling.
This phrasal verb means to start something or to initiate a process. You are getting things moving and taking the very first steps.
So you're taking action to begin something.
Yes, you are transitioning from the planning stage to the actual doing stage. Here is a concrete example. Your team has been discussing the launch of a new product for weeks, but no action has been taken yet. You might finally say, "Okay, everyone, let's get the ball rolling. I will schedule the initial meetings with the marketing and production teams this week." You are positioning yourself as the one to actually start the process.
That has real leadership energy. Next expression, to take the lead.
Speaking of leadership, this means you are taking charge or accepting responsibility for directing a project or task. You are stepping up to guide an initiative forward.
So it's about responsibility.
Definitely. It demonstrates initiative and a sense of ownership. Let me give you a scenario. Your team is working on a major client presentation, but no one has been coordinating all the different pieces. You could say to your manager, "I would like to take the lead on pulling everything together and organizing the final presentation." You are volunteering to be the one in charge.
That is very proactive. Moving along now to drop someone a line.
This is a nice casual phrase. It simply means to send someone a short message, an email, or a note, just some form of quick communication.
So it's like reaching out in an informal way.
Exactly. It's friendly and low pressure. Here's an example. You are thinking about an old colleague of yours who recently moved to a different company. You might mention to a friend, "I should probably drop them a line and see how their new job is going." You're planning to send them a quick, casual message.
Simple, but very effective. And our final one, to think outside the box.
This is a classic phrase in professional settings. It means to approach a problem creatively or to consider unconventional solutions. You are actively avoiding traditional ways of thinking.
So you're encouraging innovation.
Absolutely. It's all about breaking away from the standard, accepted approach. Here's a workplace scenario. your company is struggling with customer retention, and the traditional methods are no longer working effectively. In a brainstorming meeting, a team member might say, "We really need to think outside the box on this one. What if we tried a completely different approach to our loyalty program?" You are pushing the team toward creative solutions rather than just doing what has always been done.
That's how you inspire change and progress. 9 professional expressions covered. That is a solid toolkit for anyone working in an English-speaking workplace.
Seriously, these phrases demonstrate that you understand workplace culture and professional communication. Using them naturally will make you stand out as someone who really knows how to navigate a professional environment.
I couldn't have put it better myself. And that brings us to the end of our categories and our 30 expressions. Wow, what a journey we've had today.
30 expressions across 5 distinct categories. We have really covered a lot of ground. Seriously, I feel like we have provided you all with such a solid foundation for real, authentic, everyday English conversation. These are not just a random collection of phrases. They represent the actual backbone of how native speakers communicate with each other.
And here's the key thing to remember. Don't put pressure on yourself to use all of these perfectly right away. Start by choosing a few that really resonate with you. Practice using them, and then gradually begin to incorporate more of them into your daily speech.
That is golden advice. Repetition and real-world application are everything. Try to use them in your conversations, write them in your messages, and really think about them in context. And if you found this episode helpful today, we would absolutely love to hear from you. You can drop us a message, leave a comment below, or share it with your study partners, whatever you can do to help spread the word about the podcast.
And hey, if there are any specific topics or expressions you would like us to cover in our future episodes, please let us know. We are always listening to what our audience wants to learn. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This was an absolute blast.
It absolutely was. Same time next week?
You know it. Until then, keep practicing, stay curious, and always remember that the more you use these expressions, the more natural they will become.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on the Confident Speaking Podcast.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Confident Speaking Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Master English Fluency.